to address the safety issues of this event. We are all business people. We all know when you're putting your neck on the line, because we do it every single day. You know, we're covering ourselves with insurance, we're covering you with insurance.
Sure.
You're not only just getting it from SOMA because they're serving, but the Downtown Association is purchasing liquor policy also and naming you as additional insured. So you guys are being covered twice. It's not a town event. We're asking you to cooperate with us with this event, but it's not a town event. So again, with your conviction, you know, you ran on, you know, when it comes to the town, you don't agree with it. This is not a town event. This is a business event, and we're asking you to look at it that way. We are just trying to attract a clientele that's higher. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to cut you off.
Okay. So, you know, in the long run, we're hoping that these people will come back. They will come back to use the tubing, that they will come back and they will eat at our restaurants, as small as our little handful of stuff is here, but that they will see a reason to come back to our town. Hopefully there's investors that do look at our infrastructure and say, wow, these are really cool. Why isn't anybody in those? You know what I mean? For the life of me, I've been here since 1989. I'm like, this is the most affordable place in New Jersey to live. I can't understand why we don't have every single 20-something and 30-something buying a house here and settling in. I don't get it. You know,
No work.
South Main was a mess when I got here. You know, and I worked in Jersey City.
Do you mind if I ask what year you got here?
1989.
Really?
Yeah.
I lived down there in 83. It was booming at the time, so that's why
Yeah, it was bad when I got here. 89, it was just terrible. So, you know, it has come a long way. Phillipsburg, I love Phillipsburg. I love the way Phillipsburg was. It's definitely changing. It was definitely a tight-knit community where everybody knew each other and the families just stayed here. And that's all changing because there's a lot of influx coming in. But this is to draw a different class of people and hopefully investors and to help the businesses. And we're hoping that that's how you see this, and we're looking to do things responsibly and show people there are choices, you know. And again, I have a child, and that is always what I've done with them, is people make choices. He's not 21 yet.
I think you're trying to make an excuse peer pressure. I have to tell you, and I do appreciate it, but I am a man of strong conviction, and I hope that you're not saying without alcohol we're not doing it. You're not saying that, right? You're still doing it.
No, we're not saying that, but it's.
We won't be able to do it again. We won't be able to do it again.
Well, that's not, I don't understand. That's not the right attitude to have.
It's astronomical to purchase the tents and
But how do you know you're not gonna have a lot of families come down?
Yeah,
We have a lot of
we get an
people.
override on alcohol.
Yes,
That's
we make a month,
$2,000 to defer the cost of the porta johns, everything that goes into the event. And that was last year. If we could exceed that this year, we could do even better.
that was the only thing that the profit came out of. Other than that, it would have been complete loss.
Or we have sponsors, but that doesn't help.
Yeah.
So we grossly overcharge people, so they can donate money back, you know, to the event.
So as it stands right now, I believe the permit that we're looking at, does it include the alcohol or does it not include the alcohol? The alcohol
No,
that's.
that was a separate resolution.
That was a separate resolution.
I asked you to reconsider, that's all.
Well, the other,
Which would reintroduce something that was.
It's part of the
It is part
application.
of our application, yes.
You know, it's part of what we're doing.
But we have to adopt it as a resolution for the state.
Right, so what happens is, we've already denied the application for the state. I'm not saying we couldn't hear it again, we could hear it again. And this doesn't happen until October 13th?
Yeah.
My personal opinion, because I know that what my vote is, my personal opinion would be you don't want us to put that back on the agenda for this evening. That would be my personal opinion. Now, if you would like us to hear the alcohol again this evening, I will.
So, When I question the chair.
Oh, you can ask me anything you want, please.
So I'm assuming what you mean by that is the vote would probably go negatively as a result of Councilman Davis not being here?
Yes, sir.
So what you're suggesting, for clarity's sake, is we do the permit for the event,
Yes.
and then we table the alcohol until
Sure, I'll bring you at the next meeting. I promised Ms. that I would. Absolutely.
next week.
At the next council meeting, which is prior to, it would be October 2nd.
But you have to submit your permit 21 days prior to the event.
Would they be able to waiver that? Because she had,
No, I already had an approved permit. I had one.
right, you had an approved permit to come before us.
No, I have an approved ABC permit, and that's my question, like, the ordinance reads that the mayor has to approve on the permit for
No.
alcohol. That's
No.
the way I read it.
Right, I
That's
think
what
that may be
read.
the way, did he explain it to you that way?
No, I didn't talk to the mayor
So
about it,
the-
I talked to my lawyer about it, and he told me that it's chapter 165, no person shall drink in a public place without a duly authorized permit from the mayor.
No, so the alcohol permit has to be signed off by the police chief, the clerk, the mayor, and the town.
Right.
So when the permit was filed, it was the 23rd. We didn't have a meeting till the 4th. Automatically, they sent the permit out on the 31st. So she received the permit. Because we didn't have a meeting until the 4th, and it wasn't denied till the 4th, then that's when I contacted
Because of the vote.
ABC, because, and that happens very often, because they automatically send them, because if they don't hear back from you within 7 days, they automatically process that permit.
Okay. Does that make more sense to you?
I still don't understand where it says that it has to go before council, I don't see that in the ordinance, but the ABC doesn't require it. If it's a town ordinance, it's a town ordinance. But the ABC only requires the town to approve it,
All
and the
permits.
town approved it, the mayor approved it.
Well, the mayor did not.
Oh, yeah, the mayor
It
can't.
doesn't even go to the mayor.
No.
Just the chief and
No, someone approved it because I got my permit, and then.
Well,
Once it
yeah,
happens on
that
that,
she just
it's-
explained, that's what happened, because we didn't have a meeting in time, and we didn't have an opportunity to vote on it, you automatically got within a 7-day timeframe.
But you've done this before, I mean, you did it last year, and the same thing happened, but the council has approved it
And
in
this
the
is the
past.
first time you're not.
Right.
So they did, right, so.
That's why Walters Park came before us, that's why Old Town came before us.
They always come, yeah,
Right.
whether it's paper or electronic.
Could I, let me see what happens. See what happens with this. We can throw this out, see what happens. Carol can apparently go to the agency, get the permit, and then council, if council votes on it at that next meeting, that permit is approved by council. So she already has the permit within the time frame that's indicated, right? But you as the council, if we're understanding the way this operates properly, would be able to veto that permit at that next meeting.
For lack of a better term, yes.
Right, would be able to shut it down. Okay. Now, because of the tenuousness of this whole situation, especially for Carol and for the PDA, as we move forward here, this is going to be, I don't think there's even a precedent for this. But considering why this delay would be made in the absence of Councilman Davis, would it be unreasonable for us to ask you for an unofficial straw vote among the present
Legally,
council members?
we can't do that legally.
Okay.
I could submit for a permit, like would have to submit the permit, and it would just stay there pending until the council meeting. But that's waiting until October 2nd, you said?
Yes, ma'am.
That's like 10, 11 days before the event, we didn't know. I have to have everything lined up, my insurance company, with the beer salesman, I have to have that at least 2 weeks in advance. I could pay for that, all the trucks and everything.
We'd be doing this as a courtesy, because we have already voted.
We'll have the event, but maybe the last one.
Well, I would hope that that's not the case.
Town's gonna pay for it.
You spoke.
On this, yes.
Okay, so what's before us is the waiving of fees for the permit approval.
Special use permit.
Right, minus the alcohol. I
You
believe,
don't have to minus it, you're just approving, motion to approve the special use permit as submitted.
well, it's as submitted, it has alcohol in it.
No, it's not.
Oh, yeah, it does.
Okay.
That's separate.
Okay.
No, but it is in here. I know that we denied it, but it is in here.
We denied the resolution.
So under 6.1, does say all food beverage vendors to be part of the Warren County Department of Health temporary food. Where's the alcohol? I did see it.
I think it was a separate attachment. It just says food, alcohol, they looked at the appropriate approvals through the state, that's all it says. I don't think we. No, I don't see it. That's just a separate resolution.
Here's the attorney.
Jim, you see?
I don't have in my packet.
It's resolution 2018-163, that's a separate
Where is it?
attachment. All we have is the backup addendum requesting.
Okay, I see, yeah, it says you need to submit a completed Warren County Department of Health, okay, and then separate
Yes.
appropriate alcohol beverage. Okay,
So I think we're asking you to waive the parking fees.
right, all town fees, garbage, the parking, the police.
So we will make a motion to approve the special use permit for the Phillipsburg Downtown Association for the Corporal Palooza event. And per their request and the mayor's consent, all fees will be waived for parking, garbage, police coverage, water, electric, and disposal of trash. I believe that covers everything. The only thing they're paying for are the crossing guards.
Did that cover everything?
I believe it did.
Did you motion?
I did.
I'll second. Councilman Lewis?
No, I don't have anything.
Okay. Council Vice President?
No.
Councilman Fay? And I am also good. Roll call vote, please.
Councilman Lutz?
Yes.
Council Vice President DeGirolamo?
Yes.
Councilman McVeigh?
Yes.
Council President Colbert?
Yes. Okay, that has passed.
Can I say one thing before we go?
Sure.
If this application, we did events before, a long time ago. We just did it. There was never an application. This application should have the ordinances that you need to look up. Because that is where a lot of this happens. Like, I have copies of ordinances, I am not a lawyer. But when I read them, it's like, we didn't even need to ask you, according to what I found. So it might be for future reference to put the ordinances that you have to look at. Like, I didn't find anything that said we had to come in front of council.
Yeah, this was prepared almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So we will advise the mayor's office, who prepared it, and the recreation department,
Yeah, there should be
that
references.
they should clean it up. We've had some discussion on the ordinance as a whole, because people are trying to have small affairs for 5 people and have to fill out this lengthy form, and it's kind of
Right.
ridiculous. The library filled one out. The library shouldn't have to fill one out. So it needs some
So
modification for sure.
It was a rigorous
That being said, we can move now to council open time. Councilman Lewis.
I have a couple things. First, I would like to thank Nicole Timmerman I think you did one of the best presentations since I've been on council. I think you did a wonderful job. It made a lot of people light up to see the difference. I know it did to me. And your statistics was unbelievable. I'd just like to say thank you for a wonderful job. I really mean it. I think the council as a whole and the police chief should look into the hilltop. There was an incident that happened last week. There was a person already killed from the hilltop a couple of years ago. I think it's about time that we would look into that and let the chief look into that further to see if we should pull the license or what we should do. I see all permits for Walters Park and Riverside special use permits are going to the Recreation Department. And since the Recreation Department is up in the air, I feel that all applications, all permits should go to the clerk's office since she handles it all anyway. I don't know if we have to change a resolution to that or whatever, but I'd like to see that done.
It can be done. We'd have to amend the ordinance.
Okay?
And we'd have to just check, I'd have to just make sure the statute allows that.
Okay, so we have to change it because it says it goes to the Recreation
The
Department.
statutory authority allows it, so we can check that out.
Okay, thank you. And my final thing with the UEZ, I'd like to have the minutes and the money that was spent the last 2 years. If we could have that, please. And that's really all I have. But again, I'd like to thank Nicole. You did a wonderful job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Council Vice President.
Okay. It was a busy week last week. Monday, I was in Manville, so I went to ethics training for 2 hours.
I have a certificate for you.
You have my certificate?
Just spelled your name wrong, I sent it back.
Of course they did, but that's okay, I'm used to that. Some people can't pronounce it, most can't spell it. But I did attend that, it was a good training. Thankfully, a lot of it we had at our newly elected training. Actually, the lawyer told me I should be teaching the class, so that was kind of funny. The town of Manville laughed. Also on Saturday, the Historic Commission had an event down at the Roseberry House. It seemed to be pretty well attended. I told them I was a little disappointed council didn't know about it. I found out by accident, but I told them in the future, just please give us some notice, we'll make sure more people attend. But that was a very nice event. You got to tour the Roseberry House if you haven't. The restoration is very nice, and all the local assemblymen were there for that event. Next is not as much fun. So this weekend, it's just a couple issues. One, I'm going to address the issue of smoking. Now, we did table that ordinance because the rewrite is just taking a little more research, and it took me till Sunday to get it to the attorney. But I have some photos in front of me. I think one thing, if I can get some help on it, I noticed this weekend, because I happen to live in very close proximity to a baseball field, as most people know, and what did I see but somebody smoking in my front yard, which didn't make me very happy. So I'm thinking 25 feet probably isn't enough, because my road's probably wider than 25 feet, which means they're going to be standing in the middle of the street. Or on my neighbor's yard, and she was not very happy that they were smoking in her yard either, and she has to pick up all the cigarette butts that are left. So I'd like to check if we can expand that 25-foot perimeter to something a little wider, so that if we could just maybe visit each one of the baseball fields or recreation parks at least, and make sure we're not giving them carte blanche to go stop in other people's properties and smoke on their yards. The second item I'm going to address from this weekend is parking. I'm not sure why we have big parking signs on streets if people are going to park there. Baseball game, 5 hours. Let's see. Small street, Pickford Avenue. Clearly, we're not enforcing parking, except for me when I park 5 feet too close. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 cars on Pickford Avenue, right in front of Bentley Field. And 1, 2, 4 no parking signs. People are parked right in front of them. And because I like to watch video inside my house, I watched all the patrols go right past. Nobody got moved. We only move, and Mr. Baylor knows because I have a tendency to call the police when I get annoyed when people are parked in front of my house. But if we're not going to enforce parking anywhere, I just soon get rid of all the no parking signs because it seems a little silly to me. All of Pickford Avenue is no parking up and down the street. And I can't even blame Pennsylvania people who are at the baseball game that they can't read because these are all New Jersey cars. So I'm going to send all these lovely pictures I took from Saturday afternoon over to the baseball game that was going on because I want to know if we can start enforcing parking where we're not supposed to be parking. Second issue from this weekend. So we had a resident come up here, and this just goes to show I do look out for the welfare of everybody. So I have a picture here of my house. Now we can see the grass is cut, the sidewalks are clean. We just did a bunch of lanes for people that we had to go out and do work on. So there's my house. You can see, I'm sure I'd get fined if it wasn't.
They know where to egg now.
It's already been egged. So if you see this big black spot, that's somebody that was egging a couple of years ago. It ruined the siding on my house. Thank you very much.
This is Frank.
It was Frank. So aside from that, I'm going to show you part of what my concern was with Town Hall. So this is Bentley Field. So a resident came up and asked whose responsibility is it for the sidewalks and street weeds and grass to be maintained. The answer was the town. So this is Bentley Field. As you can see, there's grass in between all the sidewalks. There's grass in the street. It doesn't look like my property. And we're putting liens on people left and right. And actually, somebody called me because they could not get a certificate of habitability because they had grass in between the sidewalk. Yet, this is what Corliss Avenue looks like. So let's look at what the municipal building that's only partially occupied looks like.
Lane, run around taking pictures.
That's what it looks like. So it clearly hasn't been touched in a very long time.
Yeah, but Wayne has a drone.
I don't have a drone. I have this bad feeling I'm gonna show up on Facebook in my pool one day, but there's all the weeds growing out of all the shrubs that are in Town Hall. Let's see what oh, this is the front entrance. Nobody cares to see it. That's the front entrance. More overgrown, more overgrown, more overgrown, broken sidewalk. This is the front of the library. Overgrown, unmaintained. So I will send all these pictures along as well, but it's, again, we want due diligence on everything in town, and we want to treat everybody the same, but I think we need to take care of our own house before we go finding people. And I'm all about the fines because it's unfair that we send people out and they have to do hours of work at somebody's property, but take a look at what these properties look like. Now, I'll gladly go take care of that as long as I don't get yelled at again. Why? Because that's happened. We used to do it and we got yelled at. We were told it's town property and we're not allowed to touch it. I would gladly go clean that up for the library, just so I don't have to look at it, because that's what we do. But I'm going to send these to the mayor's office. I don't know if anybody else has noticed the ball field or any other public property in disrepair, but I'm not happy that this is the way we represent our municipal buildings. I'm glad the other one's taken well care of, but I don't know if the Board of Ed is taking care of Freeman. or but that's all I have. I promised my neighbors I would bring it up, so.
Please, house.
No, that's the library.
I'm kidding. Councilman McVeigh.
Thank you. First, let me apologize to everyone that if you saw my patience run a little thin after an extensive conversation with the mayor to have him just give me a yes or no answer on it. I apologize for that. For those of you who know me, I am a patient man, nor will I ask a question I don't know the answer to. So my tolerance for not telling the truth ran very short. And I gave every opportunity to him to tell the truth. My apologies to you. My second apology is to Council President Phillipsburg, who had to act and actually remove one, but not two members this evening. Hate to put the Council President in that situation, or that actually was part of that, so I apologize to the Council President for having to take his actions. But he did so in a very cordial and classy manner, so I commend him. Second, I want to further explain the police officers in the room. I know one of our residents tonight mentioned about the police officers here actually to sort of break something up. It's not. They're actually here. As one of the first things I did was request from the chief to have an officer here for everyone's safety, the totality of everybody coming into this room. And we've even asked for higher measures, and I'm still working that out with the chief as far as staffing and affordability of certain equipment to help us even further ensure that when you walk into this building and in this room that it's to the safety of all, that all can relax, and it's in the best interest of all of our citizens. And that's why the officers are here, and they do a fantastic job, and we commend them every time we walk out of this building. Third and lastly, there's no bigger champion in the work that Stan Schreck does than I. And I do commend you, sir, and I commend you often. But I will tell you this, when that young lady got up there this evening and she spoke, she really, that was a match race. I mean, that was really a match race. I know you came in at the end and you tried to explain it, but I'm gonna tell you something. That was like that Seabiscuit movie with that horseman that wouldn't give up on Man of War. I mean, that was fantastic. And she hung in there. I loved it from the start. Ms. Timmerman, it was, and I don't know, I mean, I only known her a year when I knocked on her door when I was campaigning, and so I was very impressed with you and your family. A couple points I wanted to touch on. The boutique hotel, which is actually going on over on East on 3rd Street. I'm a huge fan of boutique hotels. The 325 square feet that you mentioned is an outstanding idea. It's hip, and that's where you bring those 20, 30-somethings people from New Jersey. That's what they're going to come to. Your direct sales. I'm gently involved in the retail end of things on my spare time. The direct sales of what you're saying, it makes so much sense, and it is. And I was down in the Menlo Park Mall area today, and I know those kiosk folks are paying $800-900, and that's exactly what they're doing to make a profit. Appealing to the fishing community was fantastic. Fly fishing, I know over across the bridge on the Bush Gulf, there's fly fishing constantly. You go up 13th Street there where they have that massive blow up that they're going, you see fly fishermen in there from March to November. So that's a great call on that too, because you want to make it enough that that price point is high enough where you want the good quality of folks, but it's also, you got, be careful what you have going on there. Lastly, and my favorite was the North Pole theme. Absolutely, I can't expand on it. What more you said? Fantastic. I actually had a whole picture in my head when you were talking. I had an opportunity to go up upstate New York a couple weeks ago, traveling through a town which was remind me, it was called Bath, like Pennsylvania. It was Bath, New York, and they had a very, very, very small town. On every single utility pole, they had a flag called Hometown Heroes. And there were pictures from 1920, 1930, from the World Wars, all the way up to kids now. I guess if families had submitted their pictures, the town or whomever will respond to how that would be done, is those folks in these, it was so humbling to drive up that main street and see how this little town has paid homage to that. I mean, those are the kind of signs, and you folks in attendance know how I feel about signs. That's the kind of signage I want to see throughout our town. You know, I saw a 2004 anniversary flag, football flag, still hanging so faded and ugly. I'm like, no, that's a hometown hero flag should be down here, especially to honor our military and how we are. So you did a fantastic job, and I just commend you for everything, and good luck. And you really should be on the planning board and all that, and you're an asset to the community. Thank you. Thank you, Council President.
You done?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so, again, I take no pride in asking the mayor to leave this evening, but we need to set a precedent. It's the second time that our mayor, as an elected official, has taunted someone from the dais to the crowd. I won't tolerate it. I don't care about your petty disagreements or who said what on social media. We're grown men and women, and it's time to behave. You know, it started with him blowing kisses a few months ago, and tonight it's that he has to get the last word in. And to Councilman McVeigh's point, you know, Councilman McVeigh was right. The mayor did call the Attorney General's office to have us investigated for something that was erroneous. It was found to be erroneous, and he didn't want to answer it tonight. And he tried to find a way to get off the hot seat by saying they called him. Well, why would the Attorney General's office just call the mayor for Councilman McVeigh? It doesn't make sense. Nothing makes sense. So, just so everyone understands what we've been going through, because we have not gone public with a lot, okay? So a lot of people, we get a bad rap because a lot of people seem to believe that we're standing in the way of this mayor. Well, we're not. And I can prove it to you. So every week the mayor sends me his request for agenda. But my answer to him is, what's the point? And Vicki, I'm going to need you to say it's okay to talk here. You waive your right to a rights notice? It's not bad, I promise.
It's fine.
Thank you. Starting January 1st till present, we've passed Resolution 2018-39. It's a resolution appointing pensions and benefits certified supervisor within the town of Phillipsburg to Ms. Kleiner. Hasn't been enforced. Resolution 2018-40. Resolution of the town of Phillipsburg, County of Warren, State of New Jersey, designating Ms. Kleiner as Safety and Environmental Officer for the town of Phillipsburg. That was on February 6th as well. Has not been enforced. Resolution 2018-42, a resolution to appoint Ms. Kleiner as the municipal clerk to act as the appointing authority and the liaison for the town of Phillipsburg for civil service. Also not enforced. Ordinance number 2018-11, which was an ordinance of the town of Phillipsburg amending and supplementing the code, section 116, which would have placed all of the files in the municipal clerk's office. Not enforced. Resolution 2018-103, a resolution of the town of Phillipsburg transferring the Section 8 housing to the Phillipsburg Housing Authority.